DHS agents lining up workers at a Hyundai plant under construction near Savannah, Georgia, the largest single-site enforcement operation in Homeland Security history.
This operation underscores our commitment to protecting jobs for Georgians and Americans.
Officials say the majority of those arrested are South Korean nationals and worked for contractors and subcontractors, not for Hyundai directly. Hyundai posting it complies with, quote, all laws and regulations and will review its contractors.
I was the one that reported the information that I had to ICE.
So just to be clear, what you're proud of is hundreds of people being ripped out of a Georgia factory in one of the biggest ICE raids in history. 475 people, most of them South Koreans, were detained. And here's the thing. Hyundai already confirmed none of them even worked directly for Hyundai. Hyundai, that's how you pronounce it, by the way. They were subcontractors. Many were here on expired visas, not illegals hiding in the shadows like you're trying to sell. Translation? You didn't even expose some massive criminal conspiracy. You just disrupted lives, families, and jobs, and you're bragging on here online like it's a badge of honor. Maybe instead of clout chasing ICE, you should chase a history book.
The biggest crock of shit I've heard so far since the Hyundai plant in Elabelle, Georgia was raided was that the Koreans and the illegals will do jobs that Americans can't do or won't do. Well, that's bullshit, because there were union workers out there who weld, who are safety certified, who are skilled, who those people for decades have built this country. The union and laborers built this country, but they don't want to pay skilled American laborers that are safety certified because it costs them too much. They want to hire illegal labor and people on H-1B visas from foreign countries because they save money. Yet they give them millions of dollars in tax cuts for allegedly creating jobs for Georgians that never happens. But they shit all over our skilled laborers because they would have to pay them more even though they are skilled and safety certified. They would rather pay a $150,000 OSHA lawsuit like they did with the guy that died on the forklift out there. That place was one big accident waiting to happen. So the contractors, the corporations will hire illegal labor over Americans, not because Americans won't do the job. It's because the Americans are skilled, safety certified, and they know their worth. So they would rather just pay these OSHA lawsuits when people die. It's just ridiculous.
So let me get this straight. Georgia just hosted the biggest ICE raid of 2025, and instead of catching criminals, they basically shut down a Hyundai factory like it was a rave they weren't invited to. Nearly 500 South Korean workers, many of them legal, got rounded up like it was an end credit scene of an action movie nobody asked for. And the cherry on top? A white woman proudly admitted she tipped off ICE because she was helping. Helping who? Georgia, the Hyundai stockholders, the ghosts of the Confederacy. Listen, if your idea of help is snitching to ICE, then my idea of rescue is unplugging your Wi-Fi.
Let's take it from the top. It's not Hyundai, it's Hyundai. So if you're going to report anything to ICE, at least know the freaking name of it. Number two, in the first Trump administration, there was an agreement signed between Donald Trump and the South Koreans to bring some of their car manufacturing here to the United States. The South Koreans built a factory in the state of Georgia, and recently they have been adding to it, partnering with one of America's companies, LG, to produce electric vehicles, which would have brought billions to the state of Georgia and to the entirety of the United States and put a lot of people to work. Something you MAGA supporters are always complaining about. All of our manufacturing is being shipped overseas. And now that it's back in the United States, you want to open up your big fat Oopa Loopa mouth to ICE to get these people deported. And now all work has had to cease. And we've just damaged our relationship with one of our closest partners in Asia. I mean, do you people not think? It's this type of ignorance and silliness that got us Donald Trump in the first place, because you people just blindly do stuff. And now you just cost the state of Georgia jobs and money. I mean, what a stupid mother...
South Korea is responding after hundreds are detained in an immigration raid happened in Savannah, Georgia.
A U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement confirms a raid happened at a Hyundai Motor Group manufacturing site. It shut down construction on an adjacent factory being built to produce EV batteries. Officials say 450 people were apprehended. 300 are South Koreans. South Korea is now expressing some, quote, concern and regret following the raid. Hyundai released a statement saying it's cooperating fully with the appropriate authorities and paused construction on the building. The Pew Research Center says the U.S. labor force lost more than 1.2 million immigrants from January through July.
Here's how Korea is reacting to the ICE raids at the Hyundai battery plant in Georgia.
We need construction to cease immediately.
And this raid is the largest single-site operation that DHS has conducted in history. Of the over 450 people arrested right now, around 300 of them are Korean nationals. And this has come as quite a shock to South Korea right now because Koreans are usually not the target of ICE raids. A Korean newspaper even had this cartoon right here where they are depicting Trump as a sort of a bully. It starts off by saying that the US was begging Korea for more investments, and now they're arresting hundreds of South Koreans on a business trip. Literally just last month, South Korea's President Lee Jae-myung met with President Trump and they reaffirmed their alliance as well as business relationships. The US has been pressuring South Korea to invest billions of dollars into the American industry, and they were ramping up this pressure in the past few months. Korea recently agreed to a $350 billion investment into the American economy. And part of that investment was this Hyundai LG factory that was set to open next year. This facility was going to be Georgia's biggest industrial investment in the state's history, and it was supposed to help boost the state's economy. Officials are saying that a lot of these employees were actually South Korean nationals there on a temporary visa for a business trip who have been sent to help finish building electric car battery factories. First of all, South Korea's foreign ministry came out immediately to say that they are expressing concern and regret over Washington's decision to do this, and that this will send a chilling effect to the US in terms of business. I mean, President Trump has vowed to arrest the worst of the worst criminals with ICE raids, so I think Korea is shocked that this happened at one of their biggest factories in the US. I mean, the US is coming out and saying that they did this raid because they think that employees are there illegally or have overstayed their visas, and investigations are still currently ongoing. Now, LG is ordering all of its employees that are on business trips in the US to immediately return to Korea, and they're going to reconsider sending anyone else on business trips to the US right now.
So one of the biggest ICE raids ever just happened here in my home state of Georgia. Over 400 South Korean nationals just got swept up by ICE. And there's really only one question that needs to be answered. South Korea, did your citizens have legal work authorization to be here or not? That is the only question.
구금되어 있는 근로자들의 그 결과 오늘 이 당정배 협의 직전까지 진행.
He is going to piss every single world leader off, and he is going to isolate the US from the rest of the world even further. This Hyundai plant raid in Georgia is going to spark chaos here in the US. They detained nearly 500 workers, and around 300 of them are South Korean nationals, not criminals. A lot of them are here on training visas legally for Hyundai's multi-billion-dollar investment in Georgia. This is the biggest foreign investment project in Georgia's history, and the U.S. government just brought it to a halt. There are a few reasons why this is dangerous. First, diplomatic fallout. South Korea isn't just some random country. They're one of America's allies. They're pissed. They've already sent diplomats to help their people. So messing with this relationship could screw trade, military cooperation, and future deals. Second, the money, the investment. Hyundai and LG is dropping billions into the U.S. EV production. If they start thinking their workers aren't safe here, do you think they're going to continue to invest? Nope. They'll take their project elsewhere. Communities in Georgia is going to lose out big time. And third, trust in the system. Some people are here legally. If having the right visas doesn't protect you from being dragged off in a raid, what does it say to America's credibility? Who's going to want to come here for work or business? Just remember, this is Trump's America. These raids aren't about criminals. They're about rounding up anyone who isn't white. And if they can sweep up people who are here legally, what's going to stop them from sweeping up anyone they want? Just ask yourself, is this how you make America strong, or is this how you tear it apart from the inside?
475 South Koreans arrested, and none of you knew about it. That's what you're claiming, and you're also saying that Hyundai, they weren't directly employed by the car company, that they're outsourced by somebody else under somebody else's dime, and that miraculously they just found themselves in Georgia because they knew to come to the Hyundai company when they came through open borders illegally here into the United States of America, and they just found themselves to the car manufacturing plant. Meanwhile, what you're saying is that all of these jobs that were being performed by illegal immigrants from South Korea could have been filled by the very own citizens that live in Georgia. But it's okay that our governments came to an agreement that South Korea is going to send a charter plane to pick all of them up. We're going to get all of them back and we're going to bring them back to South Korea because of the kindness of your heart. Because you're just going to do it out of the kindness of your heart that you had nothing to do with these illegal South Korean immigrants being here at a company working for a South Korean company. And because us Americans are stupid. And because we're all idiots. But the Democrats don't believe you because they believe anything that they're told. The story is so ridiculous and it's so absurd, and this problem is much, much bigger than any of us thought. This once again falls under the Joe Biden-Kamala Harris open border situation, that these jobs were guaranteed for the people of Georgia, and again, all of you have been lied to, and they filled those positions with 450 illegal immigrants, all here through open borders from South Korea. Another win for ICE, another win for this current administration, another one for our president, Donald J. Trump, as you are working overtime tirelessly for the safety and the security, always for the American people.
She said the workers were being exploited, trafficked, and living 5 families to a house. Okay, fair point. That's exploitation. But instead of going after the corporations pocketing billions in subsidies while paying pennies, she called ICE, because obviously deportation magically solves wage theft. That's like fixing a leaky faucet by burning down the house. Here's the kicker. These raids aren't even about illegal workers. Some people were here legally on visas. If they can get snatched up, then what does legal even mean anymore? It's like ordering a vegan burger and still finding bacon in it. Either somebody lied or the system just doesn't care. And let's not ignore the historical remix happening here. Remember the Chinese Exclusion Act? Same script, different century. White workers mad, politicians blaming immigrants, and suddenly rescuing looks a lot like removing. The only thing that's changed is the hashtags. Also, let's be real. These jobs, not exactly dream gigs. They're grueling, underpaid, and come with fewer benefits than a Blockbuster membership. The same people screaming they're taking our jobs wouldn't last half a shift on that factory floor. But hey, racism always finds a way to cosplay as patriotism. Now here's where it gets messy. South Korea is an American ally. Hyundai is dropping billions into U.S. EV production, and ICE just told them, thanks for the investment, now pack your bags. Imagine begging your friend to help you move, then calling the cops on them halfway through because you didn't like their shoes.
And a lot of Koreans in Georgia back during the election, the presidential election, talked about how they were going to vote for Trump because of economy and immigration. Those were the two things that they were like very focused on during the election, was the economy and immigration. And now look, a lot of those businesses are closing and now they're rounding up our people. I hope this is a wake-up call that proximity to whiteness and the fact that we will never be considered equal to white people, no matter what we do, no matter how successful we become, we will never be seen as our equal. They still have the same racist rhetoric that they do about us.
They were supposed to invest in America, meaning they were supposed to bring American jobs for Americans. It wasn't for them to bring over these companies and then bring over 450 to 500 nationals from said country. It says South Korea has already committed $30 billion in investments here, and today they're announcing another $22 billion in addition. That'll grow their U.S. workforce from 4,000 to 20,000 workers by 2025, investing in a range of advanced technologies, some of which Tony already mentioned, from semiconductors to large capacity batteries to electric vehicle chargers and to pharmaceuticals. And the construction in America means jobs for, guess what? Americans. You see that? The economy has created 613,000 overall manufacturing jobs. Yeah, those are for illegals. Those are not for Americans. Just manufacturing jobs. Today's announcement is also proof that America is back to working with our allies. So he lied. Those jobs were supposed to be for Americans. The construction job was supposed to be for Americans, not his own fucking people. So you know what? This is the fuck around and find out stage. Stop playing with us. Stop playing with my president. If they don't like it, then guess what? They could take their company and they could shove it. I'm sick and tired of these countries coming over here playing in our fucking faces. Y'all come over here and y'all want to bring all of these jobs and all of this technology, and then y'all make it seem as if y'all going to do it to better our people, but only thing you're doing is bettering your people.
DHS agents lining up workers at a Hyundai plant under construction near Savannah, Georgia, the largest single-site enforcement operation in Homeland Security history.
This operation underscores our commitment to protecting jobs for Georgians and Americans.
Officials say the majority of those arrested are South Korean nationals and worked for contractors and subcontractors, not for Hyundai directly. Hyundai posting it complies with, quote, all laws and regulations and will review its contractors.
So let's talk about what just went down in Georgia. ICE stormed a Hyundai factory and took nearly 500 people into custody. 500. More than 300 of them were South Koreans that were flown in to help build cars. But this isn't just any factory. This site was supposed to be a $5 billion electric vehicle project, a push towards clean energy, a symbol of partnership between the US and South Korea. Biden put this in motion as part of his green energy agenda. Trump tried to slap his name on it when he got back in office, but the credit wasn't his. So instead, he does this. He sabotages it with the largest single-site ICE raid in history. So let's think about what that means. South Korea is now in Washington trying to figure out whether their investment is even safe. And meanwhile, hundreds of engineers and technicians are gone, just disappeared into the system. Where are they now? Sitting in detention centers, being fast-tracked for deportation? Nobody is giving straight answers. And to make things even worse, they were building the future of American manufacturing, which has been essentially dead for decades now. These engineers were invited here, but Trump's immigration agenda isn't about stopping illegal immigration. It's about targeting people of color and flexing power over who belongs and who doesn't. So yeah, this isn't just an immigration raid. Once again, it was a political move. It was Trump cutting off America's clean energy future.
So what's really happening here? Power, control, a reminder that in Trump's America, legality is flexible, but whiteness is permanent. If they can raid Koreans working in billion-dollar projects, they can raid anyone, anywhere, anytime. And to my Asian fam out there, this is a wake-up call. Solidarity isn't optional, because racism doesn't stop to check your passport, your work visa, or your red hat collection. To some people, if you don't look like them, you don't belong. Period. So, Georgia, congrats. You didn't just raid a factory. You raided trust, diplomacy, and common sense. All in one day. Honestly, that's the only record you're breaking.